Yeah, dude, I'm telling you now. I'm the master of Chinese culture, even better than the Chinese people. I have been watching TV and I learned quite a lot about Chinese history. You know, Chinese people know about Kung Fu. They still enforce arranged marriages even nowadays. Oh, and Chinese people barely interact with the foreign people.
That is not true!
I have seen the photo of a man blocking the whole group of tanks on the streets, and tanks cruelly run over the innocent student.
Okay, so in 1989, June 4th, Chinese students invoked a large protest of advocating for democracy at Tiananmen Square. It was mainly the college students from Peking University and Tsinghua, and they were eager to change Chinese government structure by modeling Western ideology of democracy. However, the situation got worsened as workers joined later on, with students not going to school and workers laying off their works. Government had to intervene and enact military intervention into Peking University and Tiananmen Square to stop the rebellion. And it was right at this time the tankman photos went viral on the internet.
Mr. Wong! Didn't the tanks mercilessly run over the innocent student who fought for democracy?
False right there. The truth was that soldiers who controlled the tank stopped immediately after students standing in front of them. Let's take a look at the original video clips of this image. The man climbing outside of the tank trying to persuade him to leave. But the angry students did not listen. The tank tried to move around him, and they did not hurt him at all. In the end, it was his friends who grabbed him out of the street to avoid further conflicts.
Oh, I guess I was wrong about the photo. Mr. Wang, I have heard rumors for a long time that Chinese people still remain arranged marriages even till now. It's not okay. You have the right from birth to love who you want to love. Freedom of love.
This is a total myth. Chinese government has abolished the arranged marriage tradition for a very long time. In 1950s, government enacted new marriage law which aimed to abolish the traditional feudal marriage. It meant that Chinese people grant legal rights directly from the government to pursue the freedom of marriage. Moreover, we could find evidence of free marriage in Chinese film called The Road Home in 1999 by Zhang Yimou as a director. It depicts the pure love story between a young female and a young teacher in a northern village in the 1960s. Here is a clip of the movie.
这就是来咱们三合屯教书的先生，姓骆，叫骆长宇。李亮先生，叫老师就行。
We can see from the movie that when the woman first met the teacher, the chemistry of love could be found everywhere in her eyes and gestures. And it was a time that when her ideology of freedom marriage being advocated all around the village.
Oh, okay. So, now marriage is free, but what about your closed-door policy? Just like in Qing Dynasty, you guys did not interact with the neighbor countries at all.
That was an absolute myth, because in 1979, January 1st, PRC and United States formally make diplomatic relationship. And it all comes back to 1978. In December 16, both Chinese and American governments simultaneously published a joint communique of People's Republic of China and the United States concerning the establishment of their diplomatic relations. And in their communique, the US government accepts the three principles raised by China for establishing diplomatic relations, namely cutting off diplomatic relations with Taiwan, withdrawing its armed force and military facilities from Taiwan, and annihilating the treaties signed by the United States and China Jiangxi region. Starting from January 1st, 1979, the two countries officially established diplomatic relations, marking a historic turning point in bilateral relations. From then on, the Sino-US relationship entered a new stage. The establishment of diplomatic relationships opened a channel for exchange and cooperation between China and the United States. However, the bilateral relations has traveled an uneven path. During the past 30 years, Sino relations have been advancing, although there have been ups and downs in their relations. The mutual visits by leaders of both countries and discussion between high officials have been maintained. The advancement has also been achieved by two countries in their exchanges and cooperation in the field of trade, science, technology, culture, and education and military affairs. Moreover, on the other hand, in the 1980s, China experienced a marketization and commercialism with their fundamental structures. Western companies' advertisements could be seen during this time period in China, and we could justify commercialism by looking at the advertisements for Coca-Cola ads. As we can see in this ad, we can see the juxtaposition between traditional Chinese culture of the big criticism originally from the Cultural Revolution and the ads for Coca-Cola. We can see the first time there's an introduction of Western big companies like Coca-Cola being introduced into our Chinese society. On the other hand, we can also see the juxtaposition between Western culture in Chinese people's life from this street photograph taken by photographers in the Chinese downtown cities. As we can see the photos, on the right side there's a poster of Mao's self-portrait. And on the left side, there's one American singer. He is the most famous singer in 20th century, Elvis Presley, in Broadway. And we can see also from this photos the juxtaposition between the new idea of marketization and the traditional culture of Mao's.
China is still so poor. It is still one of the developed countries in the world.
Well, it's true that China is a developing country. However, since initiating market reforms in 1978, China has shifted from a centrally planned to a market-based economy and has experienced rapid economic and social development. GDP growth has averaged nearly 10% a year, the fastest sustained expansion by a major economy in history, and has lifted more than 800 million people out of poverty. China reached all the Millennium Development Goals by 2015 and made a major contribution to the achievement of the NDG. Although China's GDP growth has gradually showed since 2012, it's still impressive by current global standards. With a population of 1.3 billion, China is the second largest economy and is increasingly playing an important and influential role in development and in the economy. China has been the largest contributor to world growth since the global financial crisis of 2008. Back in 1992, Deng Xiaoping made order of investing resources into Shenzhen to initiate the economic development. With land created and factories built, Shenzhen experienced rapid growth and became one of the most exciting and developed cities in China. Also, just like what people see in the song, there was an old man who circled something near China's South Sea. It refers to the historical event back in 1979, when Deng Xiaoping picked Shenzhen as China's economic special administrative region. Now I would like to show you a video which is called "This is Shanghai." From this video, we could see that skyscrapers and well-built infrastructure were all over the places.
So now I see that China's economy is developing, but what about the films and arts industries?
In the beginning of 1980s, the rise of the so-called fifth generation of Chinese filmmakers brought increased popularity of Chinese cinema abroad. Most of the filmmakers who made up the fifth generation had graduated from the Beijing Film Academy in 1982 and included Zhang Yimou, Chen Kaige, and others. These graduates constituted the first group of filmmakers to graduate since the Cultural Revolution, and they soon jettisoned traditional methods of storytelling and opted for a more free and unorthodox approach. After the so-called scar literature in fiction had paved the way for frank discussion, Chen Kaige's Yellow Earth, in particular, was taken to mark the beginnings of the fifth generation. The most famous of the fifth generation directors, Chen Kaige and Zhang Yimou, went on to produce celebrated works such as Ju Dou, Farewell to My Concubine, and Raise the Red Lantern, which were not only acclaimed by Chinese cinema goers, but by the Western audience. It was during this period that Chinese cinema began reaping the rewards of international attention, including the 1988 Golden Bear, 1992 Golden Lion, the 1993 Palme d'Or, and 3 Best Foreign Language Film nominations from Oscar. All these award-winning films starred actress Gong Li, who became the 5th generation's most recognizable star, especially to international audiences. Unlike the 5th generation, the 6th generation brings a more individualistic, anti-romantic left view and pays far closer attention to contemporary urban life, especially as affected by disorientation, rebellion, and dissatisfaction with China's contemporary social tensions. Many 6th generation films have highlighted the negative attributes of China's entry into the modern capitalist market. Some of the more prolific 6th generation directors to have emerged are Zhang Yuan, Jia Zhangke, who directed Mountains May Depart. A young director who does not share most of the concerns of the 6th generation is Lu Chuan. Feng Xiaogang created a new type of movie called New Year blockbusters, in which movies only be screened during the New Year. Watching movies became a tradition for Chinese people to reunite with their family. On the other hand, as a leader in contemporary Chinese arts, Xu Bing is one of the most famous Chinese artists in the world. His famous works included The Book from the Sky, which had over 4,000 characters that looked like Chinese, but were completely meaningless according to standard Mandarin, because they are kind of like a combination of Chinese characters and English letters. Phoenix Project, which he spent 2 years to build after he was inspired to construct 2 large sculptures in the form of birds that were made of largely out of construction debris and tools that he salvaged from the site.
So, did you learn a lot from us today?
I'm so silly that I still think China's remain conservative. I'm so sorry.
Hope you now have a better sense about Chinese culture now.